Start.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. I'm Spurti Gangatkar.
I'm Sri Varun.
It gives me immense pleasure to address you all on this auspicious occasion of our college's first ever alumni meet. A day like today is very important for us as it gives us the opportunity to share our experiences throughout these 5 years. As Ralph Waldo once quoted, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. We, the first batch of Triple AD, started our journey in the year 2015. We were a group of students who were eager to learn and explore the lifestyle of architecture. 5 years back, we stepped into this journey with a lot of dreams, curiosity, and passion. Today, standing at the new crossroad of life, we've come a full circle. Looking back at our journey, we have a proud feeling that we have accomplished, but never for a second was it a smooth sail. We had our share of ups and downs. For the next 3 days, we'd like to take you through all the phases of our architectural voyage. Amidst the presence of eminent, accomplished guests of the field as guest speakers, this event would comprise glimpses of our architectural journey, a series of best wishes from all our beloved teachers, thesis project presentations, and a display of skills and thrills of the batch 2015.
Now, I would like to introduce our guest for today's session, Architect Kavya Chandrasekhar. Architect Kavya Chandrasekhar is the co-founder and creative head of the Design Venue, an academic with differences, which guides students for various design, fashion, and architectural entrance exams and portfolio preparations. The Design Venue, her brainchild, started a decade ago with the co-founder, Mr. Chandrasekhar, and it today stands tall with 6 centers in prime locations of Bangalore and a center each in Indore and Trivandrum, an achievement made possible because of her leadership and relentless perseverance. She has to her credit for guiding students to secure the top ranks in design, fashion, and architectural entrance exams for the year of its inception. In addition, she is also working as an associate professor in teaching interior design and architectural design at the BGS School of Architecture and Planning. Apart from teaching, she has a decade of experience in architecture and interior design too. She has been a team player and has also headed a few design projects. She was a part of design team, which won the prestigious Visual Merchandising and Retail Designing Award. She has also had the honor of being chosen as the panelist by the All India Design Fraternity by KPMG to rank the design colleges across India, including IITs, NIDs, and NIFs. She has also judged students across India for their final round in All India Design Olympiad examination. Her unfathomable passion and immense patience for teaching and mentoring, and all at the same time, continues to pursue the adventure of built environment, search and research beyond the boundaries of time and space. Thank you, ma'am, for being a part of this event to witness our journey and encourage us. Now, we would like to take you through the experience of our international tours and student exchange programs of Malaysia and UAE. Kindly play the video. As students, the past 10 months has been a roller coaster ride. The last lap of our journey had its own ups and downs, and we have made it through all of it. A lot with encouragement and support of the faculty, and we are here today to showcase the product of this hard work. I would now like to introduce a person who is known for his dedication and disciplined approach to anything assigned to him. I recall a fond memory about this person. He was always a silent kid in the class, reserved to himself most of the times. Until that one day, we saw a different side of him. The adventurous Syed Harris wanted to dive off the Pamban Bridge on a running bus into the blue ocean. Our whole perspective changed that day. I would now like to take this opportunity to welcome our class representative, Syed Harris, who will be presenting his thesis topic, The Lost Glory of Mahabalipuram. Over to you, Harris.
Thank you, Varun. And hello, everyone. I'll be presenting my thesis project. Is it seen, Varun?
It is visible, Syed.
Okay. So the topic is Ocean Park, the lost glory of Mahabalipuram. The oceanarium.
Alex, can you tell me why you chose this topic? Out of all
Actually,
thesis topic, what was the reason why you chose this and this particular place?
I'll be explaining everything now.
Okay.
Please continue.
So oceanarium is a large saltwater aquarium in which marine animals are kept for display, observation of fishes, education, and for entertainment. This is a proposal by Tamil Nadu government, which is planned to set up the world-class oceanarium. The main aim of this project is to get rich marine flora and fauna and to increase the existing footfall. As the location is a tourist place, the Mahabalipuram, it is a very good place which holds a strong history behind it, and to educate people about the marine life and for its commercial interests. And this Mahabalipuram is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, among which the most people visit here. And the main aim of this project and the need is the Mahabalipuram itself is a historical center for tourism. And the oceanarium is used here for the commercial purpose and for the tourism purpose. And why do we require oceanarium? Why I took this project? Because as the earth itself is covered by 71%, we lack knowledge about the environment surrounding us. So it is important to acknowledge about the ocean life to the people. And ocean has many benefits like transportation, climate and weather conditions, and oil and even medical purposes. And the main aim for the project to take up in the Mahabalipuram, because Mahabalipuram holds a very strong history behind it, because few years back then, during 2004, because of floods, there are totally 7 pagodas in Mahabalipuram, the 7 temples, and now there's only one existing, that is the Shore Temple, and the other are 6 submerged temples inside the ocean, which were submerged few years back. And this site is of 23 acres located in Sea Hazard Zone. And the main aim and regional concept of this is to get back its own history back again by showcasing the replica of 6 submerged temples inside the ocean in this tunnel experience in the central plaza of the site. The effects of interacting with fish in aquariums on human health and well-being. This is the fact that based on the World WHO, it's a fact that 23% of the global deaths happen due to the environment. So it's very important to educate people about the ocean life and other environment purpose. Here are the few case studies where I've gone. First one is the Dubai Aquarium and Underwater Zoo in Dubai Mall. It is one of the biggest oceanarium and the underwater zoo, which holds 10 million liters of water. And these are the few plants and few criteria on the bottom, with the filtration systems and other things. And this is the Kesari 2, it's in the Lost Chambers, Atlantis. This is placed in Atlantis, UAE, the Palm Island. These are the plans with the circulation spaces and other criteria. This place also holds a strong history behind Atlantis. This is the third case study, the Sharjah Aquarium, Sharjah, UAE. The plans and the other criteria. This is a case study 4, that is the Dubai Dolphinarium, the Dolphin and Seal Show. As I have one of the requirement in the site, I've done the case study in UAE. The site location is at Mahabalipuram. These are the few accessible nodes from nearby places, from Chennai, from Chengalpattu, Bangalore, Pondicherry, Hyderabad, and Kolkata. This is a recent study of Mahabalipuram. This is the site of 23 acres, and these are the few surrounding spaces by the resort and lighthouse, with handicraft shopping centers, with India Seychelles Museum, with Munmun Surf School, Show Temple, Mahabalipuram Beach, Pancharathas, and resort, Chariot Resort. The main regional concept of this is that the access nodes, this site of 23 acres, it is based on the concept of access nodes. One access towards the Shore Temple and the other towards the 6 Summers temples. This is the Central Plaza, which is directing towards the 6 Summers temples, where it will be showcased under the Central Plaza. This is a Shore Temple and 6 Summers structures in ocean. During the Pallava dynasty, in the 8th century, the Pallava kingdom was covered swath in South India. So these are the lines which were showcasing the rock cut shrines evolving into the structural temples. And these 6 Summers temples, these were actually summers due to 3 criteria based on the sea action or the singing days or the shaken shrine. And these all elements have been taken to the site for showcasing the history of Mahabalipuram inside. This is the urban planning framework of Mahabalipuram, Tamil Nadu. This is a CRZ zone area. The site is 300 meters away from the seashore line. This is the land use, and this is the coming up tourist spots. This is the site surroundings with the site, and these are the nearby places. The Shore Temple, the UNESCO World Heritage Site, is 600 meters away from the site. This is the sun path with wind speed of the Mahabalipuram with few physical factors. The site is not surrounded by any built-up structures, and we have the advantage for more natural lighting. And these are the few criteria with geological and utilities. The lost glory of Mahabalipuram, this name itself has come from the strong history behind Mahabalipuram. This is showcasing towards the access node towards the Shore Temple and the 6 Summers temples. The Shore Temple is dedicated to 2 lords, that is Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. The Lord Vishnu is related to water. And these main blocks, these are the 2 blocks. The main block is dedicated to each god here. And this is the Central Plaza, which showcases the replica of 6 Summers temples.
Harris, please make use of pointer.
Yeah, sure. This is the massing of blocks, and these are the 2 blocks. These 2 blocks are designed based on the access nodes. This is the modern architecture and history of Mahabalipuram. The inside of Ocean Realm actually will portray a replica of these sunken pagodas, the 6 Summers temples. And this will have a feel to the people like how the temples might be looking in the current stage. inside the sea. And they'll even have a feeling as if they're watching the pagoda standing on the seabed. And the history and why we require a modern form, why I've used a modern form for this concept, because despite of having a modern architectural structure, this will actually stand out from surroundings in the Mahabalipuram, and this will have a deeper roots into the history of Mahabalipuram, and which will create a bond between architecture and the great history which this holds. This is the form concept. This is a Tanjavur painting art, and I've used this as a stroke and the twin fish and the temple jewel, which it holds the strong context to the Mahabalipuram site. This is a site analysis and design process. This is the sketch, and this is a design process. This design is based on Mahoney table. The layout is been, these are 23 acres, and the layout is of.
Can you go back to the previous slide? The three elements that you've taken inspiration from. Why that particular form from the Tanjore painting? What does that represent?
It's actually a famous painting, actually. So I was inspired by that painting.
You've taken only a part of it, right? Not the
Yeah,
whole
part of it, yeah.
But what was your inspiration on taking that particular part is what I wanted to know.
Actually, this painting, they do it in one strokes, like they, without even lifting a hand, they have a specialty in doing these paintings. So seeing that, when I was designing this form, seeing that I was inspired to do it.
Okay, and the reason for the twin fish?
Reason for the twin fish is actually a famous concept. So based on my requirements of the blocks, so I designed it in 2 blocks.
Okay, I mean, was it because it was related to the oceanarium and this is more related?
Yeah, related to oceanarium.
Fine.
So the design is, this is the site of 23 acres, and the design is based on the Mahoney table. This layout orientation was placed in the north and south with long axis of east and west direction. This site is protected by hot and cold winds, and they have given the large openings and the protection. This is Central Plaza with the sun path, and the wind directions from the northeast. And by the water feature in the Central Plaza, it keeps the surroundings cool. And these are the axis nodes. One is towards the Shore Temple and other is towards the 6 Summers temples. And this is the neighborhood of Mahabalipuram. And keeping in mind the neighborhood of Mahabalipuram, I have come up with the selling units for the improvisation in the community of Mahabalipuram, and there's a fisherman's building and the community where they can improvise their whole living purpose. And this is, this is the exploited view of the site zoning based on the landscaping and the Central Plaza, and the activities has been divided like that. These are the site dimensions with 23 acres. This is a site plan showing the entry and exits with the service roads. And here we'll be using the open water system for the oceanarium. These are the access nodes. And this is the pathway which leads to dive center. This is the main ground floor master plan. These are the exits. And these are the service roads with parking spaces, with Ocean block, with the Central Plaza, with Urban block, with the Dome Theatre and Dolphin and Seal Show, with the OIT space, with Turtle Park, floating restaurant and lighthouse, with R&D center, and with service station, with the LSS system, the life support system, and the Fisherman's Community Building. These are the access nodes. The access nodes leads to the pathway, which is the access node towards the Shore Temple and towards the Six Summers temples. Now, this is the main ocean ground floor plan. This is the main lobby space with the inner circulation spaces. And this is a 3D inside the ocean block, the lobby space. This is the educational classroom. And then they go to the freshwater exhibit spaces with inner circulation. And this is the Shore Temple Pillar Hall, where the replica of Shore Temple pillars will be taken into. And these are the inside circulation with these are touch pull spaces with the museum block. And this is a cave exhibit with Bay of Bengal exhibits with inner circulation, which takes into Ocean Theatre, where they have the feeding show at the afternoon times, where they feed fishes in the main tank. This is the concept of Six Hall of Treasures, where we'll be showcasing the Six Summers temples, replica of the elements. This is the main tank with 360-degree tank and the 3D. This is the inner circulation, which takes to the underwater restaurant. This is the cafeteria with the coral reef exhibit with 180-degree exhibit spaces. Then we move on to the first floor. Where we have the lift lobby space with the jellyfish exhibits with store, which leads to the bridge space where it leads to different activities. This is the accommodation space with inner circulation, which leads to the main tank with aquatic activities such as the observatory and cage experience, where they experience to feed sharks. And this is the baby shark tank and stingray tank with the divers room with the fish kitchen and fish hospital at the back with the mechanical and service floor. This is the admin block. This is the Dome Theatre and Dolphin and Seal Show. This is the inner circulation with lobby spaces, with the Dome Theatre with inner circulation with 300 people capacity. And this is the service area, the service circulation with musical fountain control room. This is inner circulation of the Dolphin and Seal Show. And these are the VIP seating spaces with the regular seating with the control room and inner circulation space, the main arena pool. And this is the backside service spaces with service circulation with the training pools and the seal pools with service lobby space with kitchen and maintenance and pump rooms with relaxing spaces and training rooms. And these are the toilet blocks. This is our main restaurant plan. This is the main restaurant spaces, the inner circulation. And this is a seafood restaurant with the eateries, with the floating restaurant. And the main kitchen with the other services with the toilet block. And this is a 3D showing the floating restaurant. This is a turtle park. The main pools and other kitchen and other services, which are cabin and relaxing space. There's a sections. This is a section A, the Central Plaza. And now here I'll be explaining like how the section and the services are taken care of for the water circulation space. And this is the bridge which connects to all the activities of the site, where the selling units are provided on the bridge to improve the living of Mahabalipuram community. And the seatings have been designed to have both side view of the Central Plaza as well as a view of the sea. This is a section through the Oceanarium, and here I'll be explaining how the water circulation is taken. Firstly, the seawater is taken, and these pipelines run to the LSS system, that is a life support system. From the life support system, it's then there are two pipelines, which is coming one is coming to the main tank of the Oceanarium, and the other pipeline which is going to the basement floor to the pump room, where it filters the water from the sand filters and biological and mechanical filtration. And this water is taken to the top, the first floor, the aeration tank, from where it moves on to all the exhibit tanks, and the dead water on the tank is taken from top. This is a section cutting through the Central Plaza with the main Oceanarium block, and this is Central Plaza with informal spaces, and this is the Dolphinarium. This is the section cut through the Dolphinarium with the main arena pool, the training pool with the seal pools. This is the section cut through the dome theatre with the projector room. This is inner 3Ds of Dolphinarium and dome theatre. This is the service water circulation, the LSS system, the life support system. The main tank here holds 12 million liters of water. Within 2 hours of time, 80% water is changed from the ocean water. Within 5 hours of time, 100% of water is filtered in the aquarium each day. So this in the basement, we have different services like the air diffusers, protein skimmers, sand filters with biological filters and active shown. This is a section 3D showing different layers of landscaping, water features, and public circulation. This is a 3D of Central Plaza and the Dolphinarium. These are the few features of the site. This is the Sky Garden with the Central Plaza roof, and the pathway which leads to view deck and lighthouse, and the solar panels on the roof. The main structural system and material of this project was the main two blocks. It's used glass fiber reinforced plastic. It is high in strength, it's lightweight, it resists salt water and other chemicals, and it has a seamless construction, and it's able to mold in any complex shapes, and has a very low maintenance and good durability. And these are a few steel frame structural systems used. The main material color typology was inspired from the Kumbhakonam statues. The main metallic bronze Kumbhakonam statues color is given to the main blocks, and the golden Kumbhakonam for the Central Plaza and the entrance. This is the bird eye view from 250 meters above the ground. This is the exterior view of the site with the landscaping view. The grand entry porch with exterior view of parking space, central plaza, view, and this is the bridge. This is the Army Center with floating restaurant. This is the pathway which leads to dive center. And this is the dive center. This is the interior views of Oceanarium. This is the Oceanarium lobby space, which has the elements of Pallava architecture, education classroom, ocean theater, where the fish feeding show happens. This is the interior view of tunnel, showcasing the replica of submerged structures. This is the underwater restaurant. This is the accommodation. This is the dome theater view. This is the dolphin and seal show. This is the main arena pool. These are the seal pools. And thank you.
Kavish. Now we are open for Q&A session, ma'am.
Yeah.
What impact do you think your ocean park will have on the residents of Mahabalipuram? Or why do you think this is going to be important?
I think this it will be important because it will help. Based on 2013 report, based on the analysis of the tourists and the jobs the people have lost in Mahabalipuram, it will actually increase by 54% by 2021, based on analysis by the Tamil Nadu government. So I think it will actually help a lot to the community of Mahabalipuram.
Okay. What's the current tourist that Mahabalipuram attracts?
It's 45 lakhs people.
Okay, and how many people do you think would also visit the ocean park?
Actually, 90% of the people come there for the Mahabalipuram beach and to see the temples and other things of the Mahabalipuram. So I think based on this, I think showing this history, again getting back to its own history of Mahabalipuram is a very big thing where I think most of the people will visit this place because we are showcasing the replica of its 6 submerged temples which was ruined inside the ocean. So I think showcasing that will help a large impact on this.
Okay. Next, which are the other places that you've taken case studies from? Apart from the ones that you have explained, have you done any other research?
Yeah, I've done research on the fishes and other things. Yeah.
Okay. You've heard of the Georgia Park?
Yeah, Georgia.
The second biggest.
Yeah.
Or the Kimulong Park in China, that's now from 2014, that's considered to be the biggest. Yeah. So when you already have 2 benchmarks, how does your design set it aside from the ones that are already existing? Or how different is this from the ones that are existing?
Okay. So here, basically this...
Because what we were talking, just in 2005. And then Kumlong is 2014. Now we are talking about 2020. So there has been more advancement. So how is it that your design is more impactful, or how is it different or unique in its own way when compared to the 2 other examples?
I think the oceaniums in the world, they have a large impact on making a good forms and other features. But when it comes to Sony, when I choose the site, it's not the ordinary oceanarium or something. It's basically holding a large, it's getting a history on its own. The place which it holds, it has a large impact on that, which makes this unique because it attracts all to the whole world to know what it's behind. What is the history behind this? So I think it makes a special element to this space.
Apart from its location and its history, anything as part of your design? I was looking at those lines.
In India, there are very less oceanariums, like very few. Hardly 2-3 are good, might be. So in India, to attract this as well as to attract the abroad people to come here, I've used like many times like the different features, like the UAE has the dolphinarium and other things, but here it doesn't have. We don't have a large impact on those kind of features like the dolphinarium, the dome theaters. There are very few features in our India. So I think involving these unique elements to the site and to the project, it will make a big impact to the whole society.
So you mean to say what you've designed is for mostly the local outcome rather than the international? You're trying to satisfy the needs of the people in and around?
It is just not attracting the locals and all, but also the large impact on the international basis. Because solely I told, like when we are using this modern form and to get the history on its own, these all things makes it unique. Because even making a normal form is not a major thing, but attracting to the international level also is a big thing. So making it a modern form is the main thing.
Okay, fine, Harris. Next, what approach does your design have with regard to sustainability?
Sustainability, yeah. I've used like materials like the JFRP, and the whole design itself is sustainable by, as I mentioned in the presentation, like the Mahoney table, like the orientation of the buildings and the spaces which are designed in the site. These all place, the design itself is sustained.
In terms of water, how many gallons of water and how are you getting them in those terms of sustainability? I did see your orientation, north-south orientation, the wind direction, the
water here, instead of having, actually in water circulation spaces also, and there's a sustainability based on the hours, like how we are, there are actually systems to circulate.
Is there something that you could show me in your design that speaks more rather than just talking about it, Harris? On how you've implied the system of sustainability in your design?
Yeah, like I've shown it in presentation for the services and water circulation, right? Like the water which is taken is in of open water system. So this open water system, what happens? Like they directly insert the seawater and take it to LSS system, not like other systems which are like closed and semi-open. So this happens like a direct process where we have a easy accessible for seawater to come in and out. So per each day, the water circulation should be taken like each day the water should be filtered. So it is within 5 hours of time, the whole water circulation happens to change the whole water of the aquarium. So it becomes very easy way. So this system itself acts as a...
Okay, I think you didn't get it quite right. That's okay. Fine. Thank you so much. I think you've done a good presentation with what you've done. You've taken a lot of things into consideration. The requirements are really vast and handling 23 acres, right?
Yeah.
Project. So handling 23 acres at this point in time when you've just finished is quite a humongous task. Good. All the best, Harris.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris, for taking us along to rediscover the lost glory of Mahabalipuram by walking us through the essence of the 7 pagodas and showing us how history can blend with modern society. Our perspective of the Oceanarium has been enhanced. The design approach and the final outcome is very promising.
Thank you.
Spurti, your voice is not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. A little more louder, please.
For the past 8 months, we have experienced a unique journey as a nation and also as students. We as a class have worked on our thesis in midst of global pandemic with constant encouragement and guidance of our faculty. Here's a short video compiling all our efforts. Can we have the video, please? Thanks for giving us a glimpse of compilation of all our thesis work. I would now like to introduce you to a person who is known for his charisma, a vibrant outlook on life. 5 years ago, he stepped into our class as a lone wolf, but somewhere along the journey, he understood the importance of friends and made them their second family. He's someone who loves debating and expressing his thoughts, and he absolutely immerses himself into motivational quotes. You can often find him humming a tune or whistling to himself at any given point of the day. Please welcome our very own Mohammad Shahid, who will be presenting his thesis topic on Vidhan Bhavan, Chhattisgarh. Kindly obliged to ask all the questions after the panelist presentation. Over to you, Shahid.
Thank you, Varun and Spurti, for the hearty introduction. I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Yes, Shahid.
Audible.
Yes. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mohammad Shahid. I am from the 10th semester of Aditya Academy of Architecture and Design. I would first like to thank all the AAAD faculty, colleagues, and everybody involved in the participation and also supporting us through this hard times. My thesis topic is Vidhan Bhavan, located in Chhattisgarh. The most important part of this topic is it's a building that frames the government and also runs the government. So it's also a building that represents an entire state in its own. I'll be covering different topics such as the location, the analysis of the site, the accessibility, different case studies, the planning principles that I've used, the different types of plans, and then the form development, the structural systems, and how the building is also sustainable. As I said, the building is an assembly building which forms the government and also runs it. It has different and various types of buildings inside the building, various spaces, and there are different types of users in the building as well. The reason why I chose the assembly building is, first of all, because this building is an icon in its own. It represents an entire state as well as a nation when it comes to a broader level. There are different types of users in the building. There are 6 to 7 different categories of them. There are there's a huge amount of challenge when it comes to the form development and how the building is to be approached, especially in the planning process as well. And this is proposed in the city called as Naya Raipur. It's a live project which I've taken. This is the overview of the buildings which have been built in India before independence and after independence. If you look at the comparison, the buildings before independence have a more beautiful look, but they are more intimidating in their character. But the buildings that are built after the independence, they have a more democratic approach with curvy lines, and the form is a little more subtle when compared to the previous building. So this will also be my approach for the building to be a more democratic building. This is the first case study that I went to, which is the Bhopal Assembly Building, designed by 1,000 square meters of area. It has the total seating capacity of the assembly alone is 366, whereas the total number of ministers and the MLAs to be seated are 290. This is the location of the site. The location is the site is located in Naya Raipur, which is a city coming under Chhattisgarh. The city of Naya Raipur is one of the most developed cities that is going to come in India. It has all the important characters, and it is a very sustainable city as it's planned. The city is 25 kilometers away from the Raipur city, which is the current capital of the state. As the assembly and the other parts of the city of the Naya Raipur grows, this city is planned to be the capital of Chhattisgarh later on. If you can see on the left side here, there's a capital complex and the CBD, and there's institutional areas and other various different things. So the capital complex is where my site is in. There's a circle inside the capital complex in which my site is located. And this whole capital complex is in the center of the entire city of Naya Raipur. On the right side, we have more of public areas, and on the left side, we have residential and institutional areas. There's a big CBD that is also going to come, the Central Business District. The city is under development still, and there's 3,000 houses and apartments already planned and started with the construction. There's the accessibility. What you can see here is the access from the Raipur city to the current Naya Raipur city. The Raipur city is 25 kilometers away from the current Naya Raipur city. On the right hand side, you can see the land use and distribution of spaces. Where if you can see, the red marks all the public and semi-public areas, which is 23%. So that is a huge amount dedicated for the assembly and other public buildings. In this slide, what you can see is the main capital complex, and the semicircle what you see here on the right hand side part is the site. Opposite to my side is Mantralaya and Indravati Bhavan, which are both public buildings again. Those are the secretariat blocks from where the ministry also takes on the further things from the assembly. The maximum FAR is 1, and the total height allowed is 48 meters for the building, because there's an airport nearby at around 7 to 10 kilometers distance. The whole area of capital complex is 332 hectares. What you can see in this slide is the different public buildings. As I said, the whole rectangle is a capital complex. And what you can see here is the different public buildings that are inside it. This is the main semicircular site, which is a 73-acre site. And opposite to that, those are the two secretariat blocks. And there's a central spine to the site, which is a public area where the public access this area. This is the site features, where the site is a 73-acre site. The radius, the total distance of the site from this point to this point is almost 355 meters. The site is almost a flat site with not much topography there. This is the wind flow analysis of how the wind is attacking the site. And opposite to that, what you see in the blue lines is the viewing angle for the public people. So the whole site is restricted for the public. Only this area, what you see here in the front, is only accessible to the public. This is the site analysis and the different site views of how it looks on the site. It's a huge 73-acre site, as I said. These are the different design problems I faced especially when developing the form and doing the planning. The main important part was symmetry. Due to the site being semicircular and there was a central public plaza, I had to maintain the perfect symmetry, and the building also had to be iconic. There were 7 different types of users that had to enter in the same building, and the massing was also a huge challenge which I faced. This is the site plan. What you see here is the main assembly block. This whole building comprises of different spaces. And in front of the assembly block is a public plaza. And there is another public viewing area for the assembly. On the left hand side is the security and maintenance blocks. On the right hand side are the ruling party and offices. In the next slide, I'll be showing the circulation of the site. As you can see here on the left side, the red marks the VVIP movement, which is the Chief Minister and the Speaker's movement. On the opposite side, what the orange marks is the secretariat movement. The people working in the building, like the staff and other committee officer staff and everybody, they use this movement. And the brown area is only for the public. So as you can see in the plan, the public is restricted only to this much part. And once in a while, once in a week, this area is open to the public. These are the, on the right hand side, what you can see here is the VVIP movement, which is the ministers and other secretariat people, the diplomats and everybody. On the left side is the press and the visitors movement, where they access only through here and then move back outside in the same way. These are the different planning principles that have been used, the nodes and the symmetry and access. Because the site is a semicircle, these nodes are already present in the site. I've tried to incorporate more nodes for easier circulation and access inside the site as well. On the right side, what you can see is the symmetry and access that I've tried to incorporate in the design. This is the master plan. What you see in numbering format is the entrances and exits. The first one is the VVIP entrance, which is the Chief Minister and the Speaker's entrance. The second one is the legislators' entrance, which is the ministers and other MLAs. The third one is the secretariat entrance. for the staff and everybody. And the fourth is also the same. This could be the entrances and the exits for the staff. The fifth one is the press, the public, and the diplomats entry. This entrance is used, this entrance and this entrance and this entrance are only used when the assembly is held. And there are other different blocks here, like the security, the security and maintenance blocks. On the right side is the party offices with a huge stadiums because ministry also promotes health and other fitness regimes. The center part here, what you see is the public plaza, which is accessible to people once in a week, where the people enter through this area and they can have a look around here. This area is on a lower level, whereas compared to this whole assembly area, the whole assembly is placed on a podium kind of pedestal, which was inspired by the Dhaka assembly built by Lowi I Khan. And this circle, what you see in the site plan, is the main circle where all the things happen. Because of this circle, the security is highly utilized here. There's not much of a security threat inside the site. These are a few of the images seeking legislators' entrance, the chief minister's entrance. There's a solar panel yard for the building. One of the most important things of Naya Raipur as a city is that the whole city is a very sustainable area. So most of the buildings, especially the public buildings, have been using solar panels and different green walls. This is the planning concept, how I arrived at the form and how the planning of the whole building is. As you can see, the whole public building, the assembly building, is an entire body in itself. So what I have tried to do is to differentiate the different areas with different body parts. Taking the heart of the project is the assembly and the library. The head of the project, or the brain, is the public plaza where the public interact. On the right hand side, the right hand and the left hand are the secretariat wings, which are the ministers and different committee officers wings. And the two legs will be the Vidhan Parishad and auditorium. Vidhan Parishad is another assembly in itself. It's a smaller assembly wherein there are 66 people, whereas the main assembly block is in the center, which has a seating capacity of 150 people. The Vidhan Parishad and the Central Assembly correlate with each other. If the assembly takes a decision, it goes to the Vidhan Parishad and then it comes back to the assembly for the final draft. And the left leg is the auditorium, which the building should also stand on entertainment and other important conferences. So this is the design concept for the whole block, the roof and the wings. The Chhattisgarh as a state has a rich culture of tribals, where these tribals are called the Gond tribe, and they have a belief of an animal protecting an entire shrine. The animal has different horns in going in different angles, which I incorporated in my design, using the same horn design in the form, which is going into different directions and which is protecting the central assembly area. This is the entrances and drop off inside the building. So this is the plan of the whole assembly block. On the number one is the VVIP entrance, which is the chief minister and speaker's entry and drop off. On this, the second one is the legislators' entry and drop off. The third one is the secretariat entrance, which is the staff. The fourth one is the public entrance. In very few days, the public entrance is open only for the people who have worked with ministers or other people in the assembly working in these areas. So I've given a smaller entry here for these people. The fifth is the assembly visitors or the press and the diplomats who enter through here. And the sixth is the auditorium entry and drop off. So the auditorium entry is a separate entry in itself. The entrance, all these entrances except the secretariat wings, they enter into the main central plaza. This was the whole concept. This was derived from the same concept Mr. Charles Kuria sir used in his building, which is the Bhopal Assembly, which I used for my case study, where all the different important people enter in one single central area and go to different lounges and lobbies to enter to different parts of the building. These are the different entrances. This is the ground floor plan. what you can see in this plan is the different wings and the different areas inside the wing which have been planned. On the right hand side is the minister's wing with this is a three-storied structure, and there are 17 ministers wing. The building is also having a height of 48 meters, which made me design a building in a form of a high rise as well, because the height is 48 meters. That's why the building comes into the category of high rise. So there are different lift lobbies and fire escape staircases and services that have been used. On the left side is the secretariat wing, which has different committee offices and discussion rooms with a cafeteria. And in both the wings, which is the ministers and the secretariat wings, you can see a huge atrium here, which has staircases cutting through them. It's a 12-meter wide atrium. And what you can see on the left side below part is the auditorium. It's a 600 seating capacity auditorium, and it has a auditorium lobby and a food court with toilets and sound control room, and the video control room on the right side. And this side is the Vidhan Parishad with 100 seating capacity with diplomats lounge and the speaker's offices in the below area. Yeah, and this is the main central area where the library is located. And around the library are the different lounges which has been used as the VIP lounge. There's a multi-purpose room for different conferences or other things. On the left side, there's a public lounge and there's a press room. What you can see here on the left side below part is another press conference room, which is very essential in a building. And it is also secluded in this part of the area so that there's no much noise happening around the library area. And there are the lift lobbies and staircases leading to the upper floors. This is the detailed view of the library area and how the zoning is being done out. The planning of different areas, the lounges, this is the VVIP lounge. On the right hand side is the lobby for the legislators. On the left side is the press and the visitors entrance. And above is the secretariat and administrators entrance. This is a more detailed view of each block, which is this is the committee offices detailed block, where each one has one green space around it, and the smaller officers, the chairman and the unit secretary have a cluster of space with toilets around him. This is on the right side wing, which is the minister's wing, where there is huge corridors of 4 meters and above. And there is the atrium also has a lower level, which is 4 steps down. There's an open interactive space, kind of an area. There's a waiting area and other areas as well. This is the auditorium wing, which has 600 seating capacity. This is the Vidhan Parishad wing with 100 people capacity and different lounges and areas for speakers. This is the first floor plan. As you can see, this is the first floor plan. The lobbies here enter to the different lounges and central corridor, which then opens up to the main assembly area. The assembly has a total capacity of seating of 150 people, including the ministers, the MLAs, and everybody. This is the area dedicated for the speaker, and he has a consultation room. This is the lobby and the lounge for the VVIP, the speaker and the chief minister. There are different ruling party and the opposition party lounges. There's a central bridge connecting both the wings here, which also connects to the corridor of this assembly, where these people can be accessing this area as well. There is the main central assembly area, more detailed view of it. It has 8 entrances. This is the first floor plan with chief minister's wing and the cabinet room and other important and very high profile people living on the first floor, working in these areas. So the placement of these VVIP people in the first floor is very important, because in the ground floor there's too much of noise and other things happening, and on the second floor it's not accessible, it's not easily accessible for the committee offices people. So this is the main floor where the chief minister and all the other important people work. There is the second floor plan with the seating capacity, with the seating areas. As you can see, there is different categories of men. The press seating, there's VVIP, so there's VIP seating, and there's women seating here. And the left side wing and the right side wing are again dedicated to ministers and the committee offices. There are also lobbies and lounges for the spectators as well. This is how the seating is kept. This is the basement plan of the building, where these are the entrances and exits for the people entering. What you can see here on the left hand side is the entry for the diplomats and the officers. On the above part is the exit for the diplomats and officers, and on the right side is the entry for legislators, and similar way the exit for the diplomats and legislators. And there is an entry and exit above here for the staff members and the secretariat administrative people also. And there is a public plaza on the same level as the basement, in the same level. This is the public plaza plan, wherein the whole public plaza is at minus 3.15 meter level from the assembly. And it has an exhibition hall, which is inspired from the Louvre Museum of Paris, and it has the tribal museum. One of the main important highlights of this building is that the public is also interacting with the assembly building. So that we can't see in many other buildings as of in India currently. This is the Tribal Art Museum or the gallery, where the works of tribals is being showcased. These are the sections, the side sections of the side section, which is cutting through the center of the assembly, and one is cutting through a cross section, which you can see here on the right hand side in the key plan. It is cutting through the minister's wing and the auditorium. There's a more detailed view. As you can see here, the lower house, which is the assembly, is 1.5 meter below this lobby area, and above there is the spectator seating, which is the balcony area. Below the assembly, there is a library, which is G-1, which has a basement. On the left side is the balcony, and is the auditorium block, which has another balcony and sound room on top. And there's parking in the below areas in the basement. This is a section cutting through in different angle for the same assembly area. On the right side, what you can see is the ministers' areas and restaurant, which is being planned, and the staircases going through. And there's a huge glass roof skylight that is being used. There is the form development. To arrive at the form for an assembly, especially when the building is so iconic, it's a huge task on its own. So the building was first to be designed like this, the initial concept of it. Then I arrived at a more rigid lines, which was a little more intimidating in character, and also had curved lines. Then the second thing what happened was the form totally developed itself on its own, with different skylights and wherein the form grows from the ground. The whole concept was the form growing from the ground. This is the slide showing the different structural members used. The form was inspired from Harbin Opera House, which is located in St. The building uses space frame structure. It also has metal roof cladding for the form and everything. And there's a huge amount of glass that is being used, which is not being used much in other assembly buildings. These are the design elements, where the use of arches, the use of curved columns, which could be balustrades as well. And there's what you can see here is the difference in level with the public area and the assembly area. This is the VVIP entrance. This is the view from the north. What you can see here on the opposite side is the public viewing the building. This is the main view of the central plaza, the main spine. This is the VVIP entrance again. I'll be showing a walkthrough. This is the main central plaza where you enter. This whole area is dedicated only for the public to view the building. This is the exhibition hall and the art gallery for the public to enter and interact. This is the entrance for the staff. The restaurant of the building also has a vegetable garden, what you can see on the video. There's an OAT. The building also has green walls in its entrance. This is the VVIP entrance. This is the recreational area for the ministers and everybody when there are guests arriving, and they can have a good walk here. This is the surface parking for the ministers and the legislators. There's a solar panel yard, which will be the main highlight for the sustainability in the building. These are the party offices and play areas. The party offices have not been designed because it was not given in the draft. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahid, for the insightful presentation and for giving us an exposure to the infrastructure of government buildings. Also for making us understand the correlationship between the general and public and iconic assembly buildings and how a building can change the corridor of an entire city.
Now we'll be open for question and answer.
Shahid, I like the way that you've taken inspiration from the best of architectural works across the world and incorporated them in your design. And in your design, you've got an executive, a legislative, and a judiciary blocks. All the three blocks are there. Can you just tell me how what was your design concept when you had to look at designing them where all the three entities work together, plus at the same time they have to be separated? So what was your way of looking at this design?
Yes, ma'am. So if you can see the planning concept, the main secretariat and the ministers block are totally separate from the main assembly block. The assembly block is a standalone in itself with different lobbies and with different lounges. So the people won't be entering the secretariat blocks or anywhere else. Whereas the Vedant Parishad also is like the assembly block, which is a separate standalone itself, which has a different entrance on its own for the diplomats as well as the speakers. So all these blocks are separated in their own way with different lobbies.
No, but then for a perfect working of it, how do we've separated them, but then for the proper working of the government, you also need to unify them. So how did you go about differentiating plus unifying them at the same time?
Yes, ma'am. In the building, what I've tried to use are the bridges. What you can see in the first floor plan, as I said, there's a bridge connecting both the assembly and the secretariat and ministers block. So when the people or the ministers, when they enter the assembly in the first floor, they have an option to move around in the whole first floor area of the assembly and the secretariat ministers offices. So that was the main element where everybody could access all the other areas.
Good. I mean, I was looking at this as an answer if you did think about it when you were designing.
Thank you.
Fine. And how do the people of Chhattisgarh associate themselves with the building apart from the exhibition area, the tribal exhibition area? Apart from that, what design elements is there that they can associate or say, this building is unique to Chhattisgarh, or this building could be anywhere? How is it that people in Chhattisgarh associate with it?
Yes, ma'am. Especially when it comes to an assembly building, right, ma'am? When it's located in Naya Raipur, which is one of the most sustainable and the most developed cities that are going to come in India, the intake that I had to take from the whole Chhattisgarh was less more than what I had to bring out the modernism of architecture. If you see the other buildings around India, there's not even one single style of architecture which has been followed in all the other different buildings, assembly buildings. So this could be a whole standalone building itself, but it could incorporate Chhattisgarh's history and everything, because the different tribals and the different cultures have been incorporated in this. Whereas
exactly what I was asking, how have you incorporated it?
Yes, ma'am. Like I said, there's a tribal art gallery which is on.
Apart from that, yes, I told you. Apart from that,
ma'am, if you see Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, when they started off, Chhattisgarh was a part of Madhya Pradesh. It actually moved away from Madhya Pradesh after the dispute happened. So if you look at the history of Chhattisgarh, there's not much more than the tribal architecture and the tribal culture. So Chhattisgarh is the state where almost 10 to 15% of concrete or the cement is utilized there. It's been the industries of cement and concrete. So I've tried to take that inside the building, where most of the building is being built with concrete and cement.
Okay, fine. How do you think a political culture is shaped and expressed through your design?
Yes, ma'am. When I say assembly building, if I give an example, if you see Vidhan Soudha of Bangalore, this Bangalore was not the main highlight of Karnataka before. It was Mysore, because it was the capital, where the king stayed. But then when Vidhan Soudha was constructed, Bangalore became the most important part of the Karnataka, because the ministers kept on coming in and the city developed on its own. In a similar way, when in Naya Raipur, when they are constructing an assembly building there, they have also incorporated housing for the ministers as well. So when the ministers enter the city automatically develops on its own. Yeah.
Fine now. Shant.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shahid. It's the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. We, the batch of 2015, were lucky to have the support and assistance of these wonderful lecturers. Being the first batch for the college, we had opportunity to experience and extract knowledge from multiple faculty members. Here is a collection of few who have played a major role in laying the foundation and have been a part of our earlier years. Now, let us hear from our teachers who have shared their experiences through this video.
Hello guys. About memories, I have many memories. But I remember the first day very distinctly when you were there with your parents on the ground floor lobby, all assembled, and then I gave a speech of some 8-10 minutes, I don't remember now, where I was trying to tell your parents that, you have made a good choice of living your ward with us, and we are going to do good job. We will groom them, we'll make sure that they become, good architects. And that thing, I really managed to put a foundation for that, in next 5 months when I was working with all the faculty like Vinay, Hardik, Atik sir, Vivin Agrawal and so many other people. It was really going very well. And I remember that, sometimes I was a little bit strict or maybe a little bit disciplined. And during those moments when I was really, I do some drama, I'm very angry and do a lot of situation, a great situation. It becomes a little bit tense. And I remember in those moments sometimes, somebody was crying. I don't remember now who they were, but whoever they were, they know in their mind who they were. The only thing I will tell them, I'm sorry, okay, I'm guilty. I know that, she's a tall girl, this Aishwarya. She's from girls' school because her parents came to meet me one time. Then this Ashish K, I know him, he's a fair guy, very handsome guy. That time he had, this beard, and it was really looking very, the fair skin and black beard, it's very nice. Then of course Chavan and Kunj, I know them very well, they were introduced by me in the college. And then I remember this Kapil Rai. Kapil Rai is a very hard-working, very disciplined fellow, regular fellow. Then I of course remember this girl. Actually, I don't know whether I can pronounce it properly. La Ang Pui, this girl from Manipur. Very, very, very beautiful mind, very nice hands. She could do very beautiful sketches, very beautiful concept. I remember her very well. Very bright girl, I hope she has done very wonderful thesis. Then I also remember Reti Kumari. Reti Kumari, of course, hats off to you. That video of food industry, it is really very nice. I downloaded from this Instagram. I also shared it with my thesis student, in my current college in Palakkad, Kerala. Of course, I remember this girl Sandhya. She is ex-army man's daughter. And his father, he was a little bit nervous. Then I told him that, when your daughter will become architect, she will become a big support in the family. Of course, this Sri Varun, in the class, I remember him, very, very serious guy. And then, of course, Mohammad Ghazi. Mohammad Ghazi, is a very nice guy, very decent fellow, very intelligent fellow, very sharp mind. Then, of course, our smart guy, Ashish Nadik, I like him. He's a smart fellow. Now he's coordinating all these things very nicely. So please, guys, I'm really happy for this one. I'm really very, very happy. But I'll give one, I'm not supposed to give an advice now, but still I'll tell you something, you must have thought something very nice for the future, all the best for that. But I tell you, future belongs to sustainability. Focus on sustainability, focus on low-cost material, focus on natural materials, focus on recyclable materials, focus on low carbon footprint materials. Even after this corona outbreak, whenever the industry will start, the whole industry will focus on only sustainability. So sustainability is the future. Buildings are also future. Intelligent designs, intelligent buildings, and sustainability both are happening together actually. So there is also now something called hedonistic actually. What is hedonistic architecture? It's the same thing. It's sustainability, but it's taken to another level actually. So all the best, guys. Thank you for inviting me to make this video. Good luck and enjoy your alumni weekend.
If you want to reach heights and soar high, you need to have the courage and willpower to leave the ground below. A very good morning, everyone. Today, as we bid you all goodbye, I would like to share a few words to you all. Never thought this day would knock on our door so soon. I never had the time to pause and reflect on how much I would miss the moments I spent with this batch. In times like this, words can prove to be everlasting and can be someone's solace in times of need. I express my sincere gratitude to all my students and send my best wishes for their future endeavors. I believe each one of you is a gem and will take the learning gathered here to a higher level of prosperity. Good luck.
Hi guys, I hope you guys remember me. I'm like really very happy that you guys are passing out. It makes me feel a little old, but I'm really happy. I remember when I came like first time to your college, you all were like these teeny tiny kids, and like it was a really nice experience when I was with you guys. More than teaching, it was a learning experience for me. And I wish you guys all the best for your coming life. I know all of you are going to be really good in whatever profession you choose. And I know I'm going to come across a lot of projects that you people are doing. But I want you guys to remember that it's more important than becoming a successful professional. It's very important to become a good human being. So always be kind, thoughtful, and passionate about whatever you are doing. And keep in mind, always help people and be kind towards them. Okay, so I wish you all the best for your life, and we'll meet you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, Tribularians. I'm proud and happy to congratulate you on completing your 5 years of journey at Tribulary. I'm so much happy to congratulate all of you. Be responsible for the society, in your profession, and for your family members, and be a good entrepreneur. And to refer to some of the memories, you always come first in my memories, because you are the first set of my students when I started my teaching career. You are the first people or the students I started teaching, and you are always the first, because there is a transformation from the students to your friends. Like most of you are so close to me, and I have a lot of memories with you. And you are always first, because as you enter to the college and while going out of the college, always each and every one of you were giving a very good smile, and you are wishing me all the days, like for almost 1.5 years. And I cannot forget all those moments. And to note down few of the memories with you, yeah, I cannot forget the video fest like we had been, and all the night out practices and that tensions. And the most thing which I like from your batch is the unity. Like always you stand together and there is one unity thing, and there are very studious people, and there are very fun people, and there are very loving people. And also I cannot forget the short movies or the documentaries which we did. Also I cannot forget, like as soon as your classes or after your exams, we used to spend a good time near the lawn. Those things you also motivated me and suggested me in a very fine way, and I was also doing the same. And be a good student and be a good entrepreneur for the society. All the best for your future.
Hi all lovely people. Ashish asked me to share a few words about my experience with teaching here at Aditya. I had a ball of a time. I loved teaching all of you, and the enthusiasm that you guys had and the shararat that you guys did. I really missed teaching. I really miss teaching you people. I wish I could do for the entire 5 years and see you blossom the way you have come out with Flying Colors right now. So all the best. I still can't believe that you are the batch that I taught and you're already passing out, giving theses and coming out with flying colors. I still remember all those naughty things that you guys used to do, and then I just loved teaching you all guys. And then I really want to see how you metamorphosize into professionals, and then how you come out with flying colors. All the best.
We would like to thank all the lecturers who have volunteered to share their experiences with our batch. And now I would like to request Architect Kavya Chandrasekhar ma'am, our guest of honor, to address the meeting and please share a few words of encouragement.
I think from the videos that I've seen, a couple of videos that I've seen, it's like reliving my own architecture days. It's nice to see. I mean, this will probably, everyone says architecture is 5 years, but this is probably the best 5 years of your life. And I'm sure all of you are already missing each other. And with this pandemic situation, you're having a farewell or offline. Probably once things get to the new normal, all of you can get back, meet and greet each other. What's very important is what you've learned in college. It's not the design. Yes, design's important, what you've learned, but most importantly, the way you tackle things and go ahead, how you work as a team, how you work as a group. This is what really matters in the real world. And all the works I see, I mean, this is like the first batch. I think you guys have done an incredible job, and the topics that you've chosen, I saw NIFTs, you've taken up NIDs, Bharat Bhavan, Oceanography, a lot of variety of projects have been taken up. This shows how your mentors have helped you and guided you in this noble endeavor. All the best. All of you seem to be very grounded, very down to earth, and I think you should continue the same principle and philosophy laid down to you at your at Aditya Institute, and go ahead and flourish, and sky's the limit. So reach for it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring and valuable words. As we have come to the end of the session, we would like to extend our gratitude to our guest of honor, Architect Kavya Chandrasekhar, for taking time out of her busy schedule to be a part of this session. I would like to thank our ever so encouraging principal, Dr. K.N. Ganesh Babu sir, our chairman, Dr. V.A. Vishwanath sir, our coordinator, Architect Arunachal Humbali sir, our organizer, Architect Senthil Kumar sir. We would also like to express our sincere thanks to all the faculty members and the non-teaching staff, participants in today's session. We hope to see you tomorrow, same place, same time, with more exciting tales to be told. And this is Varun.
And this is Purti,
your
moderators for today, signing off.